seriously on going north. We haven't seen an open gas station in probably 2 hours, and we are on empty, and it's gonna run out any second.
Burwash, they got gas station there, but it's a card lock.
And it's 24 hours?
Yeah.
How far is that?
Be 2 hours from here.
Ooh.
This is not good.
Holy, this smells bad. Oh my gosh.
Look how thick
I
it
should have
is.
shut the freaking... We're out of gas. Yep. No power steering.
Oh, we got a fox or a wolf or something right here.
That is a freaking wolf if I ever saw one. And the next morning we continued on down the highway, driving slowly to conserve fuel.
So why are cars passing us?
Because we are going 15 below the limit.
Why?
Because we have no gas. We're desperate.
2 kilometers away.
I think we're fine. We should make it. This is the place he talked about. Open 24/7. We could have made it last night.
What a beautiful sight.
Payment terminal inside.
That was cool.
Bit of stress. Oh man.
Thank you.
So you pay inside at a machine. If I ever find myself driving up in the Yukon again, and I'm going to go past Kluane Energy, there is no doubt I'm going to fill up with fuel here and give them more of my business. We were so thankful that this place was open. Whew, we're good. Ah, yeah, that was fun. So anybody going back into the Yukon from Alaska on the Alaska Highway, if you're low on fuel and it's after 11 p.m., you better have enough fuel to get here. This is Kluane Energy in Burwash Landing. It looks like even the little store is open 24 hours. So all you road trippers that are as dumb as we are, let's hope you have the luck that we have.
It's a 90-liter tank. I'm very curious to see how many liters we put into it.
I'll fill it up exactly the way I have been all the time. Like I fill it really full. I'll get a little bit of a splashback. How much I fill it.
So we had 4 liters left.
Yep.
Oof.
And I'll put 20 in here, so 106 I stopped.
Well, it's a miracle.
We had how many? 4 liters left?
4 liters left in the tank. And then we would have been on the side of the road. Oof. Okay. Onward.
Good to go. It was a 3-hour drive from there to Whitehorse, our next destination. But I had to take a quick cat nap, just a 5-minute nap. Really didn't get enough sleep the night before. Oh, that was good. How's that for camping at 4 a.m.? We were almost out of fuel. It was smoky, but the smoke was better. I was awake at about 9 something. Started cleaning up camp, made breakfast. You got up. We hit the road by 11. And we just passed Haines Junction, and I'm like, I'm too tired to sleep. And Justin's doing an awesome job editing.
Too tired to sleep?
Too tired to drive. Maybe I'm still too tired to drive. Oh.
I can drive.
Working on a text. I'll send a text to my family, just tell them what's going on. About our night last night, which was actually
Crazy.
It was crazy. It was fun in the end, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got over an hour to Whitehorse.
And then from Whitehorse to Edmonton is like 20.
Is it
25?
Oh wow. So 2 or 3 days there. Probably 2.5 days.
Almost home.
We stopped at Canadian Tire in Whitehorse to do our first and last bit of maintenance on the car for the whole trip. That's how you do it, kids, without spilling. That's the only maintenance we've had to do in this thing the whole trip. 1 liter. Okay, I lied. We stopped to adjust the timing on the engine. So for you gearheads, I did that because we were getting a little bit of pinging, climbing hills in the warmer weather. Since we were stopped, we had lunch. We have kimchi and Justin's master sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Then we stopped to see the world's largest weather vane. It's in Whitehorse. It's visible from the highway. And it's made out of a DC-3 aircraft that was actually used in World War II. With its massive 95-foot wingspan and huge tail fin, only a 5-kilometer-an-hour wind is required to turn it.
What? The world's largest weather vane is an airplane. Wow.
Made out of a DC-3 aircraft. I think this is the coolest thing, well, the coolest weather vane I've ever seen. And we just watched it turn probably 20 to 30 degrees. It was pretty cool. It's got a real groan to it as well. We hit the road and really started putting on the miles. We just wanted to get home now. When a porcupine hitchhikes, they leave their spouse behind. From a distance, I could swear this was 2 people walking down the highway wearing dark robes.
What?
I really needed to get some sleep.
I'm like, where are these weirdos in?
That's
It's a bear.
Oh yeah, that's a black bear.
Bear number 7.
Still going.
Still going. We're heading to the old airstrip. We love that camping spot. We want to go back. Sadly, the airstrip camping spots were occupied, so we had to keep moving. Then Justin had this cool idea, even though it was midnight, that we could stop at the Liard Hot Springs. We would have to park outside the gate and walk in. It was about a half-mile walk, and most of it down a boardwalk, which was very beautiful. What's really unique about Liard Hot Springs is that it's very natural. There is concrete and wood where you first step into the water, but as you explore and go farther away from the starting point, it's all natural and it's very beautiful. So we're at Liard Hot Springs in the dark, which is really cool. And you can get right up to everything. There's roots of trees down here. And it's nice and warm. There's the odd cool spot because there's still water coming out of the ground, and there's a cold waterfall at the end there. But it's all nice and warm. It's so cool. Using my watch as a flashlight. Sweet. We're gonna keep exploring here. There's no doubt that sometime in the future I will definitely go back here and enjoy it in the daytime. But I really liked it in the dark, so I will probably do another nighttime swim. We found a good place to camp just down the road from the hot springs, and it was close to the highway. It was just a gravel pit like we've camped in before on this trip. We could kind of hear a river nearby, but we were so tired we just set up our tents and went to sleep. That was a late night last night, not as late as the night before. So last night we were trying to get to Liard Hot Springs, and we did. But we got there pretty late. Our camping spot we wanted by the river at the airstrip was occupied, so we had to keep moving. And we ended up going to Liard Hot Springs in the dark, which was really cool. We brought some lights, and there were a few people in the pool. It is open to people that are camping there. We just walked through the gate. Justin knew where to go. He had been there before. And so, yeah, that was really cool to explore. It's a hot springs where it's completely natural. And we were able to go under roots of trees and under logs that had fallen over. It was very cool, very beautiful. And there's different parts of the pool, like the closer you go to the source, obviously it's hotter, and then the farther away you get, the cooler it gets. And there's some freshwater springs rolling into it that are cold. So that was a beautiful experience. And now we're camped in this gravel pit that we rolled into, probably around 2 in the morning last night. And yeah, it's a good spot. It's close to the highway. You can hear a bit of traffic, but it's also close to the river. You can hear the river roaring away. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, other than we gotta hit the road today, make some more miles. And so far so good. This has been a great trip. All right, so 10 days of driving, and this car has been flawless. We haven't even had to check the tires. So that was somewhat unexpected. I thought we'd have maybe a couple minor things go wrong. So we're gonna add a challenge to this. We're gonna take off the alternator belt and see how long the car, without using lights or the heater fan or anything like that, see how long the battery can keep the engine ignition system going. This is a points ignition, very basic old technology that is not in use anymore. And I'm curious to know, how long can we go? Can it go 20 minutes? Can it go an hour? We don't know. Maybe a couple hours. So the only reason we're getting away with this is there's 2 batteries in this car. I put in a second battery because at night we're charging cameras, laptops, drone batteries, you name it. And I didn't want to drain this battery when we're camping at night and get up in the morning and you can't start the car. So this other battery is totally isolated from this one, except when you run the car. It's charging both. The alternator is charging both batteries. So I'm going to disconnect this wire right here, which de-energizes the solenoid for the second battery. So we'll be safe. When this battery for the engine dies, we'll be able to basically boost or jump ourselves, as the Americans say, and fire the car back up and carry on down the road. So we're going to pull this belt off. There we go. I have no idea how many miles are in this belt, but we've taken it off, so we cannot charge anything in the car. And that one will not discharge because it is not energized when the engine is running anymore. And we'll see what happens. One other thing we're gonna do, and it's actually a normal wear and tear item on these older cars. The steering gear or steering box can be adjusted, and it's never been adjusted on this car. There is a little bit of play in the dead zone right now, and it seemed to develop a bit more on this trip. I don't remember it being such a dead spot before we started this trip. So I'm gonna make that adjustment, and we'll be on the road. Oh, look at that. Make sure that's clear. Now let's hope the guy at the factory didn't tighten this thing up. Oh, there we go. Well, the clunk is gone. Okay, we'll leave it at that. You know, the new cars have nothing on them like this. Like This just makes things so simple. And back then, everyone knew how to do this stuff. Tightening bolts. It's pretty basic. I mean, even before these cars were out, there was, well, this has points adjustment. People knew how to adjust their points. Most people. Some people didn't. And that's why there were so many service stations along the way. And we've seen probably dozens of abandoned service stations on this trip, whether it's Alberta, BC, Yukon, or Alaska. They're abandoned all over the place because cars needed more maintenance than modern vehicles. You can drive a modern car for probably 160,000 kilometers and just change the oil and do your brakes and tires. You wouldn't really have to touch the engine most times. So this is an old school thing, and it's an old school car, and we're gonna hit the road old school. There's one extremely important item that I have to have before we hit the road. This is my wake up in the morning when I'm on the road, because I can't have my Tim Hortons Ice Capsule, so this will have to do. You know, you wouldn't want to try this on a modern car. When you take the belt off, it usually drives everything, power steering, water pump, everything. That belt on this car is just for the alternator, so we still have the fan belt driving the water pump, and we should be fine until the battery dies. Okay, so we have now plugged in our what do you call it, power splitter into the car cigarette lighter adapter, and if you look here, we've got 12.3 volts, which is a healthy battery voltage to have. Normally when your alternator's hooked up, you'd have like 14 or so. Our alternator light is glowing, which is good. That is telling us we've got a problem with the alternator. We know that. But the car sounds fine. For now. So the odometer is at 116,370 miles. So when the battery goes dead, we'll let you know what the mileage is. Wow, that steering box adjustment. This car steers like a freaking Porsche now compared to what it was. What a difference. There was just a tiny bit of play in there, and when you're used to driving modern vehicles handle much better than these old things. This just feels so much better. Much more responsive. It's just, you slightly move the wheel and you're turning where you should be going. So it's perfect. I'm gonna call it. I think this car is gonna go most of the day on that battery, because there's no computers, there's no navigation, there's no airbag computers, nothing, none of that garbage. Just a points ignition system. So we'll see. So we're just waiting for some construction stuff to go on here, and then they'll let us through. And we're entertained by this Buffalo buddy here who walked across the road and kept the construction guys from doing their thing for a while, and now he's having a drink. So, something I just observed, we're 15 minutes into this no alternator thing, and our voltage is 12.4, which is still really healthy. And I noticed when I hit the brake pedal to energize the brake lights, the voltage drops to 12.3, and as soon as I let go of the pedal, it goes back up to 12.4. So I'm gonna call it. I think this thing's gonna go for hours. The battery is gonna run that engine for hours, because there's no big load on the battery right now. It's amazing. We're just firing 8 spark plugs. The ignition coil is like a transformer for those electronics types out there who understand how that works. It takes your 12-volt battery and boosts it into the tens of thousands of volts to create sparks for all your spark plugs. And that coil does not take a lot of energy, so I'm seeing it right now. It's just not taking much juice, so we'll find out down the road. Whoa! Ha. Hello! Well, actually, we're down to 12.2 now. I'm stopping at a construction zone here, and so yeah, it's draining the battery a little. Okay, it's been a half hour. We're at 12.3, sometimes 12.4. When I hit the brakes with the brake lights on, we got 12.2. So it is draining the battery, but very slowly. So far so good. Car's performing fine. No difference. So it's been 1 hour. We're at 12.3 volts. So I hit the brakes, 12.2. This is a very slow drain on the battery. So till next time, everything's going just fine. But I'm sure I've said this before, another beautiful thing about this highway is the lack of traffic. There's no one on these roads. Although, you know, if you do get stranded or whatever, every 10 or 15 minutes, some car will go by, so you would be okay. Here's one right now. But again, there's open road, no traffic, no one trying to pass you all the time. It's fantastic. Hour 3, no change, 12.2 volts. Still going.
Right, we made it.
Fort Nelson, we got 12.1 volts, so nothing wrong with that. Car's operating absolutely normal. No changes, no issues. So we're gonna fill up with gas right now. We're on quarter tank.
So do we just leave the car running, or how does that work?
We can actually shut it off, and then to start it, we can hook up that other battery momentarily to to fire it. So yeah, we got the same gas pump we had last time. Time to clean the windshield. One, 6, 5. 521 kilometers. That's 71 liters. 21 miles per gallon, not too shabby. This car is consistent. And also, apparently having no alternator doesn't seem to affect fuel economy either, so. That's what I'll get you to do. I'm gonna pull this wire through. Just take, you'll never get a shock. It's like playing with a 9-volt battery.
Okay.
You're gonna take this wire and just touch it to that.
On and off?
And just hold it. And I'll start it while you're holding it there.
Okay.
Once the engine's running, you can let it go.
Okay. Yep.
Tuck this away. A safe spot. Purrs like a kitten.
All right. Back on the road.
Everywhere we went, people would always ask about the car. I missed this one because I was in the washroom, but this fellow used to own a Mercury Meteor, so he talked to Justin for a while, and they had a really good conversation about the car and about traveling up to Alaska. Another example of how good people are, and they're not afraid to talk to you.
So we've switched out driving. I've been driving for about 20 minutes, and we're on hour 5 now, I think, right?
Yes.
5 hours driving, and we're still at 12.1 volts coming out. So
Go back 10 months to when you first heard of the idea of this trip.
man, this kind of, when Ryan phoned me about this trip, it was kind of like a dream idea, but he was like really serious about doing it, and I wasn't sure if this was going to happen. But driving a 50-year-old beater classic car all the way up to Alaska in under 2 weeks, I thought like that might be impossible, but we are about 12 hours away from getting back to where we started, and we have had such an incredible last 2 weeks here. We've seen so many beautiful places, driven this car through some of the most beautiful scenery in Canada. Like, we almost made it up to the Arctic Circle. This car has gone a lot of places, and I think we had, for me anyways, and talking with Ryan, I think we really had a life-changing trip. These 2 weeks were life-changing for both of us, especially because our final goal destination was getting to bus 142 and actually being there in person to experience that, and we made it. And this car, nothing has gone wrong with it. We are making problems with it to push it to the limits, and it's still going. And I think looking back on this 10 months ago, that was one of my worries, is just like, we're bringing a 50-year-old car that, you know, hasn't really driven like this probably ever in its life. Something will go wrong, and nothing went wrong. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. And as amazing as this trip was, I think we're both feeling we're ready to get home and have this in our memory for the rest of our life. This was a very special trip.
How many hours are we at?
We've been driving for 6 hours and we're at 12 still. We've probably put 400 kilometers on. Maybe more than, like, yeah, not an issue. So we are driving into a storm here.
It started to rain, so we turned on the windshield wipers. The wipers run off the battery. We knew that there would be an additional strain on the battery.
So we might be using a little bit more of our battery. So I think this thing's going to start going down a little bit. It's already gone down to 11.9. So it depends how long we have to keep this going for, but we are now using the battery a little bit faster than before. Let's see how this goes. This rain is not letting up. It's been raining for over an hour now, and we've been having to use the wipers, and that has brought us down to 11.7. I thought it would be a little bit more, but still, we're using the battery on these wipers. Our goal was to kind of, hopefully we don't have to use the battery for anything other than the engine. So that's kind of put a little bit of a wrench in our situation here, but still, it's good to know how far can you go, even with maybe your lights or your wipers on. So, but this rain is not stopping anytime soon.
So we've been driving a little over 7 hours, and the battery is now at 11.1, 11.2.
Yeah.
But it's been raining. We've had the wipers on for more than an hour.
And the lights on.
We got the headlights on now because it's getting a little darker because it's overcast. We had to turn the heater fan on to defrost the windshield properly. What else? Anyways, that's why the battery's going down. If we were still just on the ignition, we'd probably be on
12 still.
12 about. We are, where are we? We are halfway between Fort Nelson and Fort St. John.
So if this battery runs out, we're gonna be in the rain.
If the battery runs out and it's still raining, we got to put the belt back on.
You're
Alternator
the psychic
belt.
mechanic, so.
But I guess I'm the psychic mechanic, so I just have to think about it and it'll happen. Right? No, I could get that belt on in like 5 minutes. It's super easy, so
Thanks.
not worried about it. The rain is lighter now, so
Yeah, I guess we could actually slow that down a bit.
we'll see what happens. So we're still going. So 8 hours, but we've been using wipers for the last quite a while, like well over an hour.
Yeah.
2 hours.
2 hours.
They're off at the moment, but we've been turning them off and on.
The lights have been on for the
Headlights
last
been
hour.
on for
45
about an
minutes,
hour,
yeah.
45 minutes. What else? Heater fan we had to turn on to defrost the windshield.
10.1.
Okay, we're at 10.2.
10.2. It's going 10.1, 10.2. It's
Okay.
flashing.
So
Giving us a warning.
Yeah, our device here is but the engine keeps going. And that's what's important. So whatever, we keep driving till it fails.
Yep.
.9, still going.
9.90.
8.9.
8.9. Oh, we're going down fast.
Okay. So, down to 8.5, but when we turn the wipers on,
Turning the wipers on right now. 8.2, 8.1, 8.2.
I saw 0 in there.
0. Okay.
And look how slow they are. 8 volts, still going. Headlights are on, no wipers.
No wipers, no, nothing else, just the lights.
7.5 volts. How many hours? We were at 8.5 hours.
In the last minute, we've dropped more than half a volt. Down to 7.4 now.
7.4. We're at 6.9 volts. The engine has finally started to,
Starting to feel it now.
yeah, hesitate back. I heard a little backfire.
But we're back up at 7 now.
6.9, 7, 6.9. So it's gonna die soon.
And so is our gas.
Oh
Should we stop here?
no!
How far is
we
Fort
keep
St.
driving.
Oh, I'm really feeling it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna
okay.
lose power.
Okay, so I'm feeling a lot of pulsing right now. Funny
I heard a
thing-
backfire.
Yeah.
Can you accelerate at all?
Oh, wow.
Okay, we're gonna call that done because we're gonna pop my muffler.
Okay.
Just coast,
Okay.
and we're gonna have to pull over.
Right now?
Yeah. While it's still running and you have power steering, let's just coast into a driveway or something maybe. Yeah, pull into there.
Yeah.
Just don't touch the gas.
Yeah, the blinkers aren't even working.
Okay, let's just go over there. It might die. Put it in park.
Whoa.
Still idling. Oh yeah. Okay.
That's done. It's dead.
So, almost 9 hours
9 hours
using wipers,
and
lights.
lights for about almost half of it.
I bet you on just the ignition system it'd go like 20 hours. Rough guess. I don't know.
Right.
12 would have been easy, super easy. So, well, we learned something.
We did
So
it.
now we got to put the belt on and carry on down the road.
Fill up with some gas.
Yeah. What's the voltage on the dash?
13.3. Well, the psychic mechanic's right again. Between 6 and 7. We called it. 9 hours. Back up and running.
That's it for that experiment.
Until next time.
Until next time. On the psychic mechanic.
You're driving now. I'm done.
Well, here, let's see. Let's just grab it a bit. Yeah. You hear that squeal as it's charging. Let's see if I can. Yeah, good.
About 13.
13 and a half. Okay, cool.
Interesting side note, we aren't low on gas. We're actually at half a tank still, but because of how low the battery was, the gas tank gauge pretty much went to empty. That's kind of cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess, would we have lost our speedometer then too if we got
No,
close to
because
empty?
it's cable
Oh,
driven.
sorry.
Our next stop was Dawson Creek, BC, where 10 days earlier we started our drive on the Alaska Highway at mile 0. We ended up driving straight home that night, all night, as we didn't want to camp in wet clothes and wet tents because everything was still wet and it was raining here and there. So we drank plenty of coffee to keep ourselves alert, switched drivers about every hour or so, and made it home without any issues. What a trip this has been. I loved every minute of it, including editing the series. I'm gonna miss it. I'm sad it's over, but I'm so glad I have all this to look back on. And having so many incredible, unexpected events happening along this trip really made it memorable. I also feel so blessed to have been able to get to the Magic Bus as our ultimate goal that truly topped off this life-changing adventure. And I hope what we've shown here is that you may dream big, but you may not dream the impossible. We were so thankful for this car for treating us so well, taking care of us the whole time without any issues. The car went way beyond anything we could have imagined for reliability.